Here we go. Let's jump in. The top 5 proven lead magnets to grow your email list. And the reason why I call them proven because I have tested them and I've used them myself. And I'm going to give you a pretty interactive webinar. I'm going to give you some overview, give you some topics, and then I'm going to break it down and show you kind of like a behind the scenes, what your tech stack, the software you need, and how to implement some of these things. So please get ready to ask a lot of questions. Ask them ahead of time so they show up in the chat, and that way we can answer them accordingly. All right, so let's jump in. All right, practice owners they want a sales funnel that creates a pipeline of new client leads coming to their practice. They want a sales funnel streamlined so they can sleep at night and not have to worry about when someone's going to schedule an appointment with them. An essential part of a powerful sales funnel is capturing email addresses to nurture at scale and with automation. Nurture that relationship with your readers and subscribers, because everyone who comes to your website may not be ready to schedule an appointment. In addition, just because you have a sign up for my newsletter on your website doesn't mean that people are going to sign up for it. In fact, we are way, way more protective of our email inbox these days. The mindset of giving somebody your email now is changed. They're basically like, okay, I'm going to give you my email address, but I want to make sure you're giving me something valuable in exchange, because I'm giving you direct access to me and my attention. But the problem is, when it comes to lead magnets, and this is what we're looking to solve today, is that most practices do not have a lead magnet, that kind of economic exchange, giving something for free and receiving an email in exchange. They don't have that. So I'm going to show you the 5 proven lead magnets that I've used in my practices, in my business, to collect email addresses that ensures that you're providing value for that subscriber, that new subscriber, and also builds trust with you. Okay. And to kind of give you some context to where we're at, I gave this webinar not too long ago, is that we have this sales funnel, and there's really 3 main stages. Sometimes people like to use 4. I like to use 3 and keep it simple. You have the curiosity stage, is they're asking, can you solve my problem? So on the homepage, you are answering those questions, right? Can you solve my problem? Yes, I'm a counselor. I have this many years of experience, and here's some ways that I help people. Here's some client testimonials, all those things. In a future webinar, I think in June, I'm going to be giving about how to really create a high converting, high engaging homepage for your website. The second stage of the funnel is the enlightenment stage. And that client lead, that potential client, is asking, can I trust you? And really what we're going to be focusing on is this lead generator right here. And that lead generator is going to help answer that question. Can I trust you? Right. So that's kind of where we're at in the sales funnel. And here's what's at stake here. So I explored in my last webinar on how to start an email newsletter and why email is so important in building a brand and connecting with your ideal client. And the reason is social engagement is down. It is way down. So if I was to go over here, social engagement is down, it's low. And really, when it comes to social media, especially, it's pay to play. So most platforms, except for TikTok, at least for now, you have to pay in order to get that reach, in order to get that awareness on social media platforms, unless you go viral, but that's like lightning in a bottle. If you want your post to be seen from your business account, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you have to pay for that. And you'll see here in 2023 some statistics in that the engagement rate, and however they measure this, but engagement rate's down. And this has been coming for a long time. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like all the engagement's down except for TikTok. But when it comes to email lists, your engagement is up. And if I can zoom in here a little bit, you may be able to see that open rates, which is an engagement metric, is above 20% right now in these last several years, most of the years. So, and it's only climbing. Rand Fishkin at SparkToro argues that Google's click-through rates and social media engagement have fallen, and emails remained a marketing workhorse. He argues statistically, it's better to trade 1,000 new followers for a single email subscriber. That's how lopsided the value exchange is. And here's the thing, email has to be an essential part of your sales funnel, an essential part of your marketing strategy. Again, I said not everyone's ready to schedule an appointment, but if you can get that email address, you can nurture that relationship. And so when they're ready for counseling, they're going to choose you over the competition because you've already built a relationship with them. Number two, you need an email newsletter and you need a lead magnet, which is the purpose of this conversation, is because social media is borrowed land and you have no control over it. They can change the algorithm. Someone on the inside could not like your content and click suppress, click one button, and your reach is downgraded. And social media, who knows? There's legislation right now to ban TikTok or something like that. So you just never know. And you never want to build your whole business on just one platform. You are on borrowed land. You do not own the direct access to your ideal client. And number three, email is still sacred space to speak directly to your audience. So you have to get their email address. You'll see a lot of people on social media. The main call to action is subscribe to my email or download my free guide. That they're trying to get people off of social media and YouTube, whatever, and onto their email list. Okay, before we go forward, I want to make a couple of announcements. Is the Group Practice Scaling Summit. It's coming up in just 2 weeks now. It's in beautiful Chicago. We have a few spots left. You can purchase your tickets. If you stay to the end, I'll give you a discount code for $100 off. But it's sort of like a TED Talk event where you get to actually listen to great content, but ask a lot of questions. And we're purposely keeping it small. So, and kind of build some community there. And let's face it, being a practice owner can be lonely. Being a group practice owner could even be even more lonely at times. So go to brandyourpractice.com/summit. We are going, including your ticket, is a meet and greet that's going to be happening Monday night at Illuminati's Pizza in Oak Park. It's deep dish. We're paying for it, and we're paying for the drinks. We're also paying for your breakfast and your lunch those 2 days or the day and a half. And we have some great topics that are going to help you scale your practice. So be sure to check that out and sign up as soon as possible. If that's interesting to you, this webinar is brought to you by TheraSaaS. Next one. And welcome into those who are going to the conference, the Meet You in Kentucky conference. I will be there. I'll actually have a TheraSaaS booth there. If you're interested in having a CRM to help you organize all your intakes. But I'm also presenting on Friday, which is the presenter day, with a breakout at 9 a.m. And I'm going to be talking about how to build a powerful sales funnel for your practice. And I'm going to give away a lot of the free stuff that I share in that webinar. So welcome in all the Meet You in Kentucky folks who are joining this webinar, and hope to see you next month. All right, stay to the end and I'll give you a bunch of free stuff. Okay. 7 years ago, I think it's important for you to kind of know a little bit my context if you don't know who I am. 7 years ago, my beautiful wife there, she was 6 months pregnant with that little chubby boy down at the bottom, Simeon. She was 6 months pregnant. And she came home from the agency she was working at. She was getting her hours in. She was working on her counseling degree and getting her hours. And she said, Brent, I would like to actually start my own practice. And I want it to focus on kids ages 2 to 12. And I want it to be 100% private pay. So you'll also notice at this time, we had twin girls who were 2 years and who were just 2 years old. So that means we were going to have 3 kids under the age of 3. I didn't have a marketing degree. I never started a business before. We didn't have money to pay someone to build us a website or a sales funnel or a lead magnet. I didn't even know what those things were. We lived in Chicagoland to be near family, and we just couldn't live on my income alone. Chicago is a very expensive place to live. And we were starting from absolute scratch, and we had to make this business work. And so I went down the rabbit hole on how to create videos, how to do branding, marketing, WordPress websites, creating a website, like all those things that are needed to just get a business going, SEO, all those confusing things. And for several months, that's what I obsessed about. And then we launched Kid Matters Counseling shortly after. And 7 years later, there's my beautiful family. 7 years later, That's what they look like 7 years later. And then Kid Matters Counseling is now 9 clinicians. It has grossed 1 million in revenue. We are still 100% private pay, and we actually have over 3,500 email subscribers. And the lead magnet that I'm going to be showing you has contributed to that amount of growth in our email subscribers. Okay. Since then, those last 7 years, I've helped gone on to help launch and scale up over 12 private practices across the country. So what that means is I'm a full stack marketer. I've done all the things: Google ads, Facebook ads, content marketing, WordPress websites, SEO, branding. I've also done all the content creation. So YouTube, I've done vlogging, branded newsletters, podcasting, course creation. I've all done that for myself, for my businesses. I'm also, I forgot to show you that I'm a Story Brand certified guide. And here's the other thing. My mission is really to help launch, grow, and scale 10,000 private practices by 2030 by these different vehicles, different businesses I have here: TheraSaaS, Play Therapy Toolbox, which is an e-course; the Private Pay Practice Program, which is an education course as well with some coaching; and then also Brand Your Practice, which is pretty much a small media company at this point, providing value. And I also have some services attached to that. All right, so here's the plan for the day, or at least for this next hour. I'm going to show you a little bit the purpose of a lead magnet. Um, Try to also address some of the objections that the skeptics might have out there. I'm going to show you some lead magnet topics that you could be choosing from. Then I'm going to show you the 5 lead magnet formats that I think work really, really well. And then I'm going to give you kind of a lead magnet tech stack, a live demo behind the scenes, and how to connect everything together. All right, that is the plan. All right, let's jump into the purpose of lead magnets. And again, please be putting your questions in the comments so Troy can queue those up for us. All right, the purpose of a lead magnet. The first one is really to qualify the client lead or the prospective client. Those who download that PDF or whatever it might be, they are very interested in solving a problem that your practice can solve, or at least a solution that your practice can provide. They are on the verge of wanting counseling if you're a couples therapist. So, okay, let's put it this way. If you're a couples therapist, you want to make sure that you create a lead magnet that helps couples, because you want to be able to qualify that lead, right? You don't want to write about your top 5 Netflix shows for couples, right? That's a blog post, not a lead magnet. And I'll get to that in just a minute. But it actually qualifies that lead because it's showing you they're taking a micro transaction, a micro step to download something that will help them solve a problem. And that's a signal to you they are on the verge of scheduling a counseling appointment or whatever it might be. The second thing that a lead magnet will do is build trust at scale. So a lead magnet does 2 things at once. It really provides a free resource that helps solve a problem, which positions you as a trusted guide, but it also will open up another problem that is uniquely solved by your services. So by solving that first problem, you build trust, and then because free value will build trust, and that's why I'm doing this webinar, right? Just to be honest with you, like, this webinar is to help build trust with you. And a good lead magnet will build enough trust for them to consider buying from you because you've positioned yourself as this trusted guide. You're giving away free content that helps them solve a particular problem. Number 3 is that a lead magnet will differentiate you from the competition. So just like an author of a book, right? An author can can build a relationship with the reader with their book. A lead magnet will also allow you to build a relationship with potential clients, allow them to experience your unique voice or your unique perspective and how you can help serve clients. For example, like if you deal with trauma, and dealing with the symptoms of trauma, you can have your unique perspective in helping them. Maybe that's EMDR, maybe that's somatic, or a combination of the two, whatever it might be. So the lead magnet gets you on, puts them on your newsletter, and that way you can continue that conversation. So let's say they download the lead magnet. Well, they're also now, you can send them emails and newsletters on other areas that you can help solve problems, right? They get to know you and your personality. No joke, I've heard stories from my clients, my service clients, partnership clients, where they've had someone on their email list for like 2 years before they've scheduled an appointment. But they signed up those two, like prior, 2 years prior, through the free lead magnet. And I've had people reach out to me. They're like, I've been reading your email for 2 years. I'm ready to launch my private practice or whatever it might be. Right. So I don't even know this person. Right. But I've been developing a relationship with them. That's the power of a lead magnet. Okay. So let's get into the second one, how to choose a lead magnet. Well, the first thing, it has to solve a problem for free. So people come to your website because they have a problem. And if you don't try to help them solve that problem, or at least talk about the problems that you help solve, they're going to leave because you're not relevant to them, right? Their brain is saying, does this website, does this counseling practice help me survive and thrive, right? And if you don't, you're going to lose them. The same goes with your lead magnet. It has to help solve a problem and it has to be for free. All right. The second thing is the problem and the service have to be aligned. So when you're talking about topics for a lead magnet, this goes without saying, but your lead magnet has to align with the counseling services or testing services or psychiatry services that you provide. So if you're a therapist, do not have your lead magnet be about rare cat breeds, right? That's just going to confuse everyone coming to your website. Choose a common and significant problem that will connect with your ideal client, um, and the services you provide. So if you work with children, maybe you have a lead magnet on the topic's going to be around childhood anxiety or childhood OCD or how to parent an ADHD child. If you work with teens, um, think about topics that are around self-harm or anxiety or addictions or how to parent a teen. If you work with couples, focus on communication issues or infidelity or co-parenting. If you work with trauma, think about maybe a trauma survival guide, and I'll show you something like that in a little bit, or common signs of trauma, or EMDR. EMDR is really growing in popularity, so maybe you want to focus on that. If you work with just women, right? So maybe focus on. Uh, I'll show you a lead magnet. We have something called the 32 hidden signs of anxiety that women need to know about. So think about those issues that women might be struggling with and write about them or put a guide together to make that the topic of your lead magnet. All right. And then number three, have a great title for your lead magnet. And there really are two conditions for a great title. The first one is you want to have a title that's clear and simple. So again, you don't want them burning calories or creating confusion as they're reading the title of your lead magnet. And state the benefit and possibly allude to the time and effort that you took to create this. So it's gonna, I'll show why, but psychology is that there's like the effort bias or something like that. That if someone perceives how much effort you've put into it, it's gonna equate to more. It's gonna be more valuable to them. They're gonna equate more value to it. And I'll show some examples in a minute. The second thing is you want to, I call it pain avoidance. People want to avoid pain, so they are more likely to download a lead magnet that helps them avoid loss or suffering or some sort of pain. All right. So for example, I did this lead magnet a handful of years ago for a fence contractor. And I was like, how about this? 5 questions to ask your fence contractor so you don't get ripped off. All right. So the title's clear, right? So you just here are 5 questions. And here's the pain that you're trying to avoid so you don't get ripped off. All right. Here's a few more titles. 25 ways to practice mindfulness to lower anxiety and increase self-care. So we said 25 ways because that seems like that's a lot. Like there's the effort bias or whatever. So there's a lot of value because it feels like a full guide. That it's a clear title, practice mindfulness. And here's the benefit: lower anxiety and increase self-care. Here's that other one I created with Chantel, 32 hidden signs of anxiety that women need to know about. Here's another one, the free trauma survival guide. Discover ways to reconnect with your body, engage with your emotions, and connect with others. Here is another one that I've created with my clients, the couples communication toolbox. Discover the hidden keys to emotional intimacy, less arguing and empathetic listening. Again, that's kind of showing a toolbox kind of shows that it's a fairly significant item, the lead magnet. It's going to have some value and a clear title, and here are the benefits. I mentioned this at the beginning of the webinar, but this is the one that has helped grow my wife's practice email list, 15 signs of childhood anxiety and how to help. And inside of it is really a checklist, those 15 signs, a couple exercises on how to help, and then other things about the practice and how they actually help children and their anxiety. All right, so I'm going to throw it up to anyone have any questions here so far around lead magnets, anything that I've talked about. And so I'm going to bring Troy back in. I haven't seen any. Hey, Troy. I haven't seen any. You're kind of like a co-host, Troy, so you can unmute yourself and
Hi,
we can
Brent.
hang
Hi,
out.
everyone.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't see any questions on there. Have you seen, where do you post the lead magnet? Okay. Hey, Heather. Yeah, great question. On your website. So what you could do is I like to put it in different parts. One, I like to have a pop-up, which I'll show in a little bit. Have a pop-up. Pop-ups, you're like, oh, that's so annoying. But you know what? They work. They work better than anything else. So you can have a pop-up that has, I'll go ahead and show this. Troy, you can also show these comments if I forget to do it too, I think. But you can have like an exit intent pop-up. So when that mouse goes up to the corner to close out the window, it's going to pop up, or a scroll depth pop-up. They scroll so many pages or so many percentage down the page and it will pop up, or there's like a time-based pop-up. So so there's that. And then I like to put like a sign up inline. They call it an inline sign up form somewhere on your website, maybe on the margins of your blog page. If you have a lead magnet that's really working, I like to have it in 2 or 3 places for people to download. All right, Nikki, good question. How would you do a lead magnet for group practices? So the lead magnet, the 25 signs of mindfulness, is a group practice. The trauma one that I showed you earlier is for a group practice. It's helpful if you have a niche for a group practice. So my wife's practice is obviously a group practice. If you don't, then, I have another practice that works with children and couples. So they have a couple different ones on their service pages. So on your couples page, you're going to have maybe a pop-up or an inline, opt-in box for it. And they can sign up that way for on the couples page. And then if you work with children or if there's something else, so you could have a lead magnet for each one of your services, and it's a lot of work, but that's how I would conceptualize it, because you want your lead magnet to align with your service. You're going to get your most traction on your homepage, so whatever service you want to promote and grow the most, put that right on your homepage. Troy, I'm going to have you bring up the next one from Margaret there, or Margot. Can you actually highlight that one if you put your cursor over it and says show? Do you see that? No?
It doesn't allow me to do that.
Oh, man. Okay, I got to give you more permissions. Margot asks, where should the pop-up go? I like to put them all over your website. The pop-up, I want every single page to have the pop-up on it, except for maybe your thank you page or your conversion. If someone schedules an appointment, you could send them to a thank you page. I try not to do that there. Or your sign up for an appointment page, the form they need to fill to schedule an appointment. But there's ways where you can set it up where, if someone clicks off the pop-up, it won't show for another 5 days. So it's not like every single time. There's different ways you can set it up depending on the program that you have. Follow-up question. Do you ever put the sign up in the header? I've never done that. I don't know if I've seen that done. Unless I actually, you know what? I know I have seen that. Creator Science does it, I think, because his main call to action is sign up for my newsletter. That is it. So he doesn't want anyone really signing up for his services until he engages them with their newsletter. Like that's the main call to action. So I've seen that like right in the very top of the page, it just says it. Oh, okay, Margot, like Margot Robbie. Got it. Yeah. Just finally watched Barbie for the first time a couple weeks ago with my wife. We missed the cultural so we had to catch up. All right, let's keep going. Those are good questions. Thank you, Troy. You look great, by the way. Thanks for joining me. All right, let's keep going. Keep your questions coming. Keep your questions coming. All right, here we go. Top 5 proven lead magnets. All right, so here is the 15 signs of childhood anxiety. So here's the thing. People love checklists. So the first one's really checklists. They love checklists. It communicates that you've taken a problem and that they are trying to solve, and you've broken it down into manageable steps. If you don't have any lead magnets at all, this is the best place to start. Figure out that topic and turn it into a checklist. And this lead magnet's been actually downloaded over 2,000 times. Second one, ultimate guides. Many of you are on this webinar because you've probably downloaded one of my ultimate guides at some point. The ultimate guides take a lot of time, but they're incredibly rewarding. Because the ultimate guide also communicates like this is going to be thick, this is going to be good. I'm willing to exchange my email for this guide, right? It's going to help solve a problem. So I created with this guide also with a lot of SEO in mind. At the time, Google's algorithm was favoring and rewarding in-depth authoritative content. They've changed it. It's much different today, so it doesn't rank as high for a lot of reasons. But this has worked really well for me, the launch guide. So I basically took a 4,500 word blog post, how to start a private practice, and turn it into a 10-page checklist and resource with further links to other videos and things like that. And then I took that resource and then I turned it into a 24-minute long YouTube video because YouTube is a search engine, and that's one of the places I wanted to grow my brand on. So that's kind of the distillation of this ultimate guide. And and this one's been downloaded over 4,000 times since July of 2021. All right, the third proven lead magnet format is an email course. This is not an e-course, it's an email course. So for those who've gone to TheraSaaS, you'll see this pop up. And this is just an educational, think of it as almost like an ultimate guide if you want, but it's an educational course delivered through email only. So it's an email course that it's typically longer emails, and they're designed in a way to help digest the content. And in those emails, it could link out to other resources you have, other videos, whatever it might be. But email is the primary vehicle for this. So here's an example of what that looks like. So you can see you got emojis. I'm spacing things out. Got bolded words. But you're teaching them through email. So that's all it is. People love these. What I love about these email courses is that it doesn't take a lot of time to create. It doesn't involve a lot of design like a multi-page PDF or anything like that. The course, a typical email course is usually 5 to 7 days long. So you have your topic and you spread it out over 5 to 7 days. And there's usually in the last couple emails, there's like a heavy call to action to schedule an appointment or to buy a particular product. That's usually on day 6 or 7. And the reason why you want this is because by them downloading your lead magnet, they're raising their hand saying, I'm interested. I want you to talk to me about how you can help solve my problem. So that's why I say heavy call to actions towards the end part of the email course. The other one is just a typical e-course. So here's another one we created for one of my clients. And what this is, so a traditional e-course, something like Thinkific, you need a learning management system. So like Thinkific or Kajabi and even TheraSaaS, my CRM has a membership course module in it. And what I like about courses, it takes time. It doesn't have to be a big course. It could be a mini course, right? You could use different multimedia so people could have download PDFs inside the course. You can have videos on there. It could be text-based teaching. Yeah, you could do a lot with an e-course and a learning management system. The individual just signs up through an opt-in form, and the primary content is delivered through the learning management. So there's like a login and all that type of things. Okay. The last one is a private podcast. So I created one for my private pay practice, which, by the way, all those businesses I showed you at the top, my goal is to get 10,000 to help launch, scale, and grow 10,000 private practices by 2030. All those businesses have a lead magnet of some kind. And I also want to say all the lead magnets that we've done, the first one doesn't always work. Like you kind of have to test these things out. So we got the idea, I don't know where, but it's a private podcast. So what this means is um, it's a podcast, but they only get access to the podcast episodes if they opt in. They sign in and they get access to a link that they can then import or subscribe through their podcast player. Okay. So podcasts are amazing. Podcasts are still growing. You can get your voice, which is a very intimate thing, get their voice into the ears of your ideal client. And the setup is pretty simple. You could just use your cell phone microphone, or you can upgrade to a nice microphone. You can open up a Zoom meeting and just start recording using Zoom. It's great. It'll adjust your audio levels and all that stuff. It'll be great. You can send it to somebody to edit if you want, or you can edit it yourself. Audio editing is not that hard. Um, so what I like about the private podcast is it kind of also shows some of that exclusivity, right? Provides a little bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, because you need that URL to get access to it. This is a little bit screenshot, and I'm going to show you more behind the scenes, but we have 8 episodes. You can see up here, if I zoom in, it's an unlisted podcast. So that's why they need a URL to get to it. All right, bonus. I'm all about some bonuses here. So the bonus is format lead mag is webinars. Exactly what I'm doing. In fact, I'm going to let you know about my next webinar. That's going to be on May 9th, and it's going to about how to automate your email newsletter. It's going to be a step-by-step guide. There you go. So webinars are still great. They're amazing. People are using them. It's a great way to collect email addresses. Every time I do a Brighter Vision webinar, and I love partnering with them, there's about 400 new email addresses that I'll get. So, or maybe 300 to 400 new email addresses. So webinars are still really great. They're still very popular. You can showcase your personality and build that authority and trust. And software makes it really easy. I'm using StreamYard for this. The only problem with webinars is that it takes a lot of time. So practice owners have very little time to commit to doing these things. I spend about 20, depends on how much value you want to bring, but I spend about 10 to 20 hours, probably more like 15 to 20 hours per webinar. But these are great because webinars you can reuse over and over again. So I'll do the same webinar here in a couple months, maybe in 6 months or so. And that's also the basis for a forthcoming book. So I'm like testing out content for the book that I'm writing. But webinars are fantastic. I think it's great. I think practice owners are underutilizing these. I have had a client actually provide a webinar, a presentation on signs of trauma in high school students, I think. Yeah, signs of something like that, to a group of parents at a private school. And it was all done all over Zoom. And it was a webinar format, right? And she collect all those email addresses and build that relationship with them. Okay. So I'm going to just take a quick break here for questions here. Any questions around what I just shared on webinar formats? I'm dealing with a cold right now, so I'm going to take a little vocal break and where's Troy? Let's bring Troy back in. Hey, Troy, I share. Yeah, you're back. You shared a link, the StreamYard. Oh, is this, yeah, what was that link to?
That's for your next webinar.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah. So click on that link to register for the next webinar. Yeah. Any other questions so far? Oh, we got over 20 people now on the webinar. I see. That's great. Yeah, put some questions in the chat before I get to the tech stack. And I'm going to prepare my screen for the tech stack. So I got to share a different screen now. No questions, anyone? Well, seeing none, maybe we just keep going. Maybe just give me a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Or send Troy some encouragement. Send Troy some. Would the lead magnet also be posted in your SEO blog? I don't know is that in my SEO blog? Yeah, let me just show you that, like what that could look like real quick. Brand your practice. I'll get to the blog here. Give me a second. So let's see here. I have my main on my blog. I have that my lead mag right here. Start your own private practice. And then if I punch into one of my blog posts, I have some more lead magnets on the side here on the right. So you can see that. Whoa, man, it's just popping up everywhere. There you go. There's a pop up. So hopefully I don't know if that answers your question. Sorry, I accidentally left the meeting while signing up for your next webinar. Well, welcome back, Heather. It's good to have you. So, yeah, no problem. Okay. Let's jump in to this next section. It's a little tricky because I'm doing multiple things at once here. It's not helpful. All right, so a couple things here. What you need for a tech stack is really an opt-in form, and you need an email provider. So at minimum, you need software to help create that opt-in and consent form box builder, right? We've all seen these things, right? You see it right down here. And then an email provider to deliver the asset. So you know what? Before I do this, let me go back to, I'm going to remove Troy. And then where are all the reactions? Smiley face. Oh, there. Thank you. Thank you, Margot. All right. I need to stop. I got to share another screen. Sorry for the. Okay, here we go. So an email providers are like MailerLite, ConvertKit, and even TheraSaaS will do this for you. Where is okay, here we go. Now we're getting back on track. So for the private practice launch checklist, so I've used Canva to create the graphics and the PDF. I use something called Opt-in Monster. So you saw that pop up earlier. That's using Opt-in Monster. Other programs do it. Opt-in Monster is expensive, but I needed it for a lot of different. I was doing a lot of different testing for a lot of different clients, so it was just a tool. You don't need Opt-in Monster, but I'm just showing you what I did. And then there's MailerLite to deliver the assets itself and the email campaign. So let me show you a little bit on this automation. So every automation is kicked off with a trigger. So the trigger is they subscribe to the private practice launch checklist, right? So they download it. And email number one, we deliver the asset. We wait a day and we start our campaign. Email number two, and then we wait another day and we send it. So if you guys download this, you're going to get about 12 emails over the course of the next 20 days from me, and I'm just continuing to show value. Here's a link. Here's another resource you have, like over and over and over again. I've gotten so much wonderful feedback on this guide. Yeah, it's worked really well for me. Okay, now it's time for the live demo. Here we go. So let me show you the things. Let me get back in here. All right. So for this one, this is to how to convert calls into clients. All right. So this is for TheraSaaS. The opt-in form was created inside TheraSaaS, and I'll show you that briefly. This is what the landing page looks like. So I have the form down here, and the form up here in the image. Email automation was delivered by TheraSaaS, and so let me walk you through it. So here's the form, and in TheraSaaS, this is actually for the private pay podcast. Oops, forgot the different form, but similar. So here's the form, and we embed that form right inside here. And then here is the automation. So this is inside TheraSaaS. So the trigger is somebody fills out that form, and then there's a bunch of stuff that happens on the back end. Google Analytics, I add, but eventually gets to that first email, which we have a beautifully designed email here that the first course or first lesson of that course. So this is all about intake coordinators and sales. So you can see that here. So I long form emails. I wait a day, wait step, and then here gets email number 2. Wait a day, email number 3. And you can see here inside TheraSaaS, it shows you that people are actually in the course right now, and they're just on those different wait steps. So wait step, add content, email, and then I add a little tag at the end that just lets me know, hey, they finished the course. Okay. And then I also get a little internal notification because it says, hey, Troy, they just finished this course. You should reach out to them. Okay. So that's a little bit behind the scenes on that automation and what the opt-in form is. Okay. Where reaction. Okay. Got it. Let's get to the next one now. So this is going to be the live demo. This is going to be the e-course. And this was also built inside TheraSaaS here with our form builder. Again, most email like MailerLite, ConvertKit, they all do this to some extent. And then when they fill out the course, this is the inside of TheraSaaS. There's a membership module. We created this course, and well, it's not showing up at the moment. Whoops, that's the worst thing. There it is. So you have the little like a mini course right here, and inside each one, you can see that there's like a video. You could add files here and some text. Okay, so very traditional e-course. They fill out the form, they get access to the course, they get a username, and they set their password. And this is the back end of you setting up your course and your different. The other thing is really cool. Well, actually, I'm going to get sidetracked. Let's keep going. Here is the automation on TheraSaaS. So once they fill out the form, because I was going to show you this, you grant them membership to the course. They get an email. There's a quiz in there that they can take. We're just pointing them back to the course itself. We wait a couple days, and then you say an email number 5. Hey, meet the team. Meet the team at Sirona. And also here are a couple testimonials we want you to know about. Email 6, email 7. So these are the call to action. Like hear their experience. Get your own appointment today. Okay, so that is how the automation works, and you can see there's people inside that automation right now. Let's see here. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Ask any questions so I can stop talking and answer them. But let me jump over to the next one, which is the private podcast example. So again, this is all built on TheraSaaS. We got the opt-in here, and you already seen what the automation looks like, but let me show you the back end of Transistor. Transistor is what I use for all my clients' podcasts that we produce for them. And you can see here that we created a unlisted podcast, which basically means every podcast needs an RSS feed, and you can share that with Apple and distribute them to all these different aggregators of podcasts. But in order to subscribe to this podcast, you need this podcast feed link. So when they fill out the information on the opt-in form and box, they're going to get the email with this link in it. And I wanted to show you the episodes here. This is what it looks like right here. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but these are all the individual podcasts here. What Deb and I did here, the reason why we did this is that we work with, I've launched several with other practice owners, private pay practices. So we had a lot to say about how to grow a private pay practice, whether you're solo or a group practice. And so we created like an ultimate guide essentially, but using podcasts. We also took those podcasts and did it in the videos, and I'll also show that to you as well. So we did all of this through StreamYard, I think. I don't think we did Zoom, but we have all the videos here. We use Vimeo. And the reason you could also use YouTube for this if you want. That's not a big deal. I think, YouTube likes to suggest videos as soon as you're done, and their algorithm's so good. You'll get distracted. I want people to stay on the website. I want people to stay engaged with the content. So that's why we use Vimeo for all our videos. But you can easily use this on YouTube. Let me show you the other thing. Vimeo has a really cool thing called a showcase. So it also nicely arranges everything here, and you can watch or listen to all the videos that we created for the ultimate guide for private pay podcast. Let's see. Do we have more? All right. So the next one's going to be action items. So any questions? So let's see here. Heather's got some good questions. Let's talk about those. Heather, would you? Hey, Troy, I want to bring you back in. I wish you could hit those buttons for me, but all right. Heather asks, would you consider shifting this to a source of revenue instead of being a free solution? Would it become a paid solution? I love this question. Okay. So I say if you're just starting out, like you got to have the free option. You can eventually upgrade later, upsell them into a paid option. So that could be another e-course and another ultimate guide that's more of a paid product, like for $7 or $100, whatever. There's a whole psychology around that. I say offer it for free. You know, the webinar series that I'm doing on this could easily be part of a paid course where people pay maybe $200 on a sales funnel. Who knows? Maybe it might be someday. But for me, my philosophy is like, I'm just giving away all the good stuff. I'm giving you behind the scenes. A lot of people would typically have to pay for a webinar like this and getting this information. So for me, I'm like, give it all away because it's going to position you as a trusted guide. So what I'm trying to do, and maybe a little behind the scenes here, my own kind of marketing, what I'm thinking for myself is that I would love to be known maybe as the sales funnel guy for private practice owners. And see you later, Troy, for private practice owners. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this. So I'm giving it away for free. So I would say get started, give it away for free. Let's see here. I created a paid relationship rescue course, which I taught in person with couples as a workshop. I would love to create a lead magnet to my course. Yeah, that's great. So I think what you could do. Oh, hey, Deb. Yes, Deb, great. Welcome. Great content. Yes. Oh, thank you, Deb. Yeah. So yeah, everyone meet Deb. There she is. She's smiling on this image right here. So back to Heather's question. Yes, you could create a lead magnet around this and around your course. You could break down your course a little bit already, or maybe here's the other thing you could do. You could give away the first session or lesson of your course as for free and say, hey, you want the more, you can pay for it. You could create a checklist that's based on your course that you have. I know there's lots of ways to do it. So, that good question. All right. Not seeing any more. Let's start to wrap it up. Let me switch screens one more second. Okay, here we go. Some action items for us all. The first step is choose your lead magnet topic. All right. So use the framework I've given you to choose your topic. For me, I say write out the script, write it all out, get the words down first, and then you can develop it if it's a checklist or a course or an email course, whatever it might be. And then choose your format. So get the words first and then choose the format. And I would say choose the format that really like best suits you. I'm way more comfortable doing webinars these days. I like talking with other people as well. But also just get started. Maybe just do a checklist and get it done, or do an email course. Keep it simple. just get it out there and get it going and test it out, because you're going to have to try different formats. See what sticks. Or maybe it's just changing the title. That's what I found. You just got to change the title. That's more of a hook. All right. So I'm going to give you this resource, this QR code, and maybe Troy, you could put it in. Troy, you could put it in the comment section, the link to this. So what this is just going to give you access links to all the lead generators that I've shown you today and a whole lot more. So that I would encourage you to just what we call funnel hacking, just reverse engineer it. See what I'm doing. I've already showed you what works. And just to experience it for yourself and see like, oh, I wonder, oh, this is more my personality, this type of format. I don't know, just reverse engineer it. That's what I've done. There's nothing new under the sun, and you're just testing. You're just testing. So thank you, Troy, for putting that in the comments. Here's the thing with TheraSaaS, just real quick, since they did sponsor this. It's an intake CRM. So if you're struggling keeping track of client leads that are coming into your practice and you want to be able to organize them and not have them not fall through the cracks, TheraSaaS is a great way to do that. But TheraSaaS is also a marketing software as well. So you could create lead magnets in there, like I showed you. You can design beautiful emails, and it will also send your emails for you. Okay. Something to consider. So schedule a demo if that's interesting to you. We do have a special in April, 40% off, and there's the code there. But please schedule a demo with me to make sure it's a good fit for you first. And then I'll give you the purchase page if it is a good fit, and you can use that code. All right. Other thing, just a reminder, $100 off. Just do TheraSaaS 100 and get $100 off the Group Practice Scaling Summit. Would love to have you in Oak Park for just a day and a half. It's going to be pretty great. And we're going to make sure you're well fed too. The other thing is a reminder for those in the Meet You in Kentucky conference. I'll be in breakout room 3 at 9 o'clock in the morning to talk about how to build a powerful sales funnel for your practice. Thumbnails, you got to look silly sometimes, gets the attention. The next webinar is going to be in May, and it's how to automate your email newsletter, another step-by-step guide. So a little bit of what I showed you already, but I'm going to show you some more automation and just kind of how to connect the things, and so that you can sleep better at night and your sales funnel is working for you 24/7. Your sales funnel, your website in particular, should be a 24/7 sales agent, your best sales agent. And email is going to be a big part of that. So I'm going to show you some automation and email newsletter ideas. All right, let's wrap it up. Any final questions? Margot, thank you. Glad you were able to join for the second webinar. Yeah, I'm going to be doing more, at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. Private Pay Practice, I have a webinar with them for the group. And also Brighter Vision. I'm doing some, so it's web. I'm giving it for a try for a year. Yeah, you're welcome, Erica. Thank you, Cindy. That's just great. Any other questions? I'll hang around for one more minute and then take a what do you call those? Throat lozenger. I can't remember it. Yeah, please put any other questions in here. I'm not seeing any. You know what? I'm going to bring Troy back in and just say thanks, Troy, for joining me. It's the first time I had Troy. I know I didn't know what to expect, but sometimes you get hammered with questions and I can't keep them all straight. So it's just good to hang out with you, Troy.
Good to hang out with you too, Brett. If only I could show the comments on my end, but I couldn't.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll figure that out. All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap it up here. So thank you so much for joining me, and you'll get an email with the replay when it's done. Yeah, and please ask any questions you have on the back end. Subscribe to all those lead gens so you can see them and experience them yourself. And we'll see you in the next webinar, or I'll see you and meet you in Kentucky. All right. Thanks all.